Welcome to the Verdin Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Got a quick update for you. We're going to be breaking down some odds because I found some weird trends on the sports books with LSU and next season, the SEC, national title, Heisman. We're breaking it all down. And then I got some rich LSU athletes that we're going to talk about. Who's next on the max deals? Who's got some of the biggest contracts? How many contracts are out there for LSU football? And why not LSU at the end of the day? If you're a recruit, why would you pick any other program? Why would you pick somewhere when you got a location like LSU developing dogs, absolute dogs? Then we'll give you a quick preview. LSU men's basketball trying to wrap up their season Thursday. Baseball trying to keep things going. Not undefeated anymore. Damn, Omaha took one from him on Saturday. We'll break it all down for you. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. If you got a question, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it throughout the stream. Now, let me hop on my soapbox real quick because, like I said, there's trends all over the place, and these trends are kind of confusing. If we're looking at the sports book, there's a general consensus. There's a modest prediction for LSU. The win total's at 9. And I'm going to start it off really not complaining much about that one because there's a couple other teams here at that same mark. You've got Alabama at the 9-win total mark, Ole Miss. You even see teams like Miami, Michigan. This is really just another way of phrasing you're probably getting a college football playoff berth. At a 9-win total, you've only lost a minimum of 3 games. You could lose, 2, 1, obviously double-digit wins. They're just trying to put you in a spot where they're thinking you're a contender. So, like I said, that's a modest one. And in LSU's instance, I really do think that 9-win total is almost guaranteed. Your toughest games on the road, Clemson, on the road, Ole Miss, on the road, Bama. And then I'll throw a wild card in there, probably 4th toughest game. It's a home game, thankfully, South Carolina. Those 3 home stands, or 3 road stands, that's where LSU is getting tested. If LSU was going to fall out of the 12-man race, it's going to happen right there. It's going to happen in week 1, unfortunately. It's going to happen when you travel to Oxford, or it's going to happen when you're in Tuscaloosa trying to battle it out with DeBoer. The SEC title odds naturally have you 5th in the conference behind Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. LSU ranked as the 5th best SEC program. And a couple of those names I think stick out. I think they're worth noting. I think they're worth putting ahead of LSU, Texas, Georgia, maybe an Alabama, Tennessee. I'm kind of squinting my eyes at. Let's move on to the national title odds. 10th best odds. No tie, straight up, double digit, right on the cusp of being outside the top 10 at plus 2,000. Now, here's the bone I have to pick. At Heisman, you got Garrett Nussmeier at number 1 still for months at plus 800. Everything else is value. If you've got LSU as the 5th best team in the SEC, the 10th best team in college football, but you have them with the best quarterback in college football, hell, the best player in college football with the Heisman Award, something tells me that record could get a lot better. Obviously, Garrett Nussmeier is one of the best players returning, especially at that quarterback spot. I feel like there's really not many people prepared and as much, with as much experience as a Garrett Nussmeier. I'm just saying, if you're telling me he's going to have the year we're all expecting, that the offense is going to fit, they could potentially have a running game, they could potentially have, a plethora of weapons to feed the football to, I'm not buying that they're the 5th best team. Quite frankly, they're top 3 in the SEC, and they're top 5 in college football. If you've got Garrett Nussmeier playing to his utmost full potential. At the opening of the season, you got Clemson, obviously, on the road. We've been talking about it for a while. ACC champions. LSU has some just shitty luck to open the year. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's been years since you've had an undefeated start to the year, and everybody wants it to be this season. Vegas isn't even buying it. LSU's plus 2.5 on the spread. Underdogs on the road at plus 114. Now, it's close, but I'm just saying everything across the board when it comes to sports books, when it comes to Vegas, when it comes to odds and predictions and analysis. Everybody's thinking LSU is mediocre or right in the middle or average. And I think that they could be slacking a little bit, especially if you're trying to say that they have the best odds for the Heisman. I just don't see a team having the best odds for the Heisman and equally having 10th best odds to win a championship or 5th best odds in a conference to represent, the Southeastern land. I don't see it aligning. I don't see it correlating. And I think LSU could really make some noise here. Obviously, a lot of things are going to have to happen, but I mean, you only got a few more weeks left before you really get to see everything out there on the field, from the transfer portal pieces to the new coaching staff pieces to just everybody's new roles. I feel like LSU is about to turn the fire up. And it's going to start with throwing out these predictions for Las Vegas. Now, like I said, the win total, that ain't that bad. The win total wasn't the one that I was really, confused about. I could see it. 9 wins, that's fine. 9 wins and a number one Heisman odd quarterback just kind of throws me off when you're saying Tennessee could be a better SEC squad, or Alabama, who, by the way, Tennessee's got Nico, sure, but Alabama's got a quarterback to decide who they're going to replace. Georgia does as well. And Texas is flipping over the quarterback spot, and they got a better, more surefire candidate in Arch Manning. But I'm just saying, there's colleges in college football right now that do not have as much figured out as LSU does. LSU is ahead of the pack, so to speak, in terms of their overall returning production and who they got at the helm in certain specific positions. Another thing I want to mention is this is not Garrett Nussmeier learning a new offense again. It was his first year starting, but it was also his first year under Joe Sloan. Now that it's his second year starting and it's a second year under Sloan, I think that you're going to see an exponentially greater offense. I think you're going to see a lot more fireworks. I think you're going to see a lot more comfort, a lot more risk being taken. LSU can get back to that explosivity, that dangerousness that we expect them to be at. So if I was telling you preseason what to jump on, it'll be that win total, slap over. I'd probably even say LSU takes Clemson on the road, gets that plus 114 money line. National championship plus 2,000. That one's wild. SEC, though, an SEC title appearance is not out the realm of possibility for LSU. I don't think there's a lot of SEC teams that are going to be able to compete with them, especially if you can knock Ole Miss or Bama and get those 2 games on the road. Really flex some muscle. I think LSU is going to be in a nice spot. Let's talk about NFLSU real quick. We're going to talk about being in a nice spot. How about backing up the Dan Brinks truck and getting a max deal? Joe Burrow obviously did that recently. Got a couple other names that are looking to join the party, though. Jamar Chase, Derek Stingley. Obviously, the last few years, Justin Jefferson. But we got some nice names on here just to pretty much explain what happens to those 3-letter athletes once they enter the 3-letter league and inevitably ball out and fulfill their potential. Obviously, Joe Burrow, you see it on the screen, $55 million per year. His total contract over 5 years, $275 million at the age of 26. Shout out his buddy Jamar Chase. He's looking to ink a similar deal. Justin Jefferson is the highest paid wide receiver as of right now. I believe he's tied with CeeDee Lamb, though. But Jamar Chase is looking to break that record. He's rumored to get $40 million per year. Not official yet, but the 24-year-old's working to get a deal roughly in the $180 million range over 5 years. And that would be insane. The Bengals going to have a lot of contracts on the ledger. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson going to get a deal. Franchise tag probably coming here soon for T. Higgins. It seems pretty clear the direction and that they're going in terms of the most important athletes and who you got to keep happy the longest. And it's got to be those 2 guys on the screen right here, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That's your duo. That's your May 1-2 punch. And that's probably going to be the 2 richest people in the NFL going forward, especially after this offseason. Justin Jefferson, like we said, $35 per year. His contract over the next 4 years is worth $140 million per year. Here's another athlete that I'm an advocate for getting a max deal. Derek Stingley Jr. You absolutely crushed it this season, balled out. Honestly, I'm not going to say you won your team the playoffs, but you damn sure sealed the game. I think he could have a really good chance to break Patrick Surtain's cornerback contract record. I think Derek can get anywhere from $24 to $25 million per year. I think his total contract would damn near be $100 million over 4 or 5 years. I believe Surtain's guaranteed money is at $77 million. The total's around $99 million. Like I said, Derek Stingley, he's coming for that number, and I think he deserves it. I think he's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And I think Houston's going to have to back that Dan Brinks truck up. The 713 is going to have to pay him a lot of money to keep him happy. At the age of 23, when you're locking people up like that and you hop off your rookie deal, it's going to be a lot of money headed your way. Another Texan, Daniel Hunter, 30 years old, but guess what? That contract, that thing is fat. $24 million a year, $49 million over 2 years. Huge deal. These 3 players right here, obviously, they're going to be under the same exact situation as Derek Stingley. Minute that rookie deal is off, they are getting super maxed. All the bells and whistles on that contract. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Jaden and Malik are getting about $9 million a year. Jaden's is at $37 million over 4 years. Malik's is at $30 million over 4 years. Brian is at $15 million over 4. Tyrann Mathieu sneaking in here at $7 million a year, $14 million contract value. All of these top contracts. Now, obviously, there's more LSU players. There's obviously, you could throw in a lot of other people, Adele, this, that, the other. Those contracts we just named you, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Derek Stingley, Daniel Hunter, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Tyrann Mathieu, Brian Thomas Jr., just those contracts in and of itself, those top contracts are worth this year $204 million. Over the entirety of the contracts, the total value, $815 million. Simply put, why not LSU? I think this is the destination. If you're trying to get to the NFL, make a name for yourself, develop a brand, ball out, and be an NFL star, all signs are pointing towards Baton Rouge, especially when you got Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, right on the cusp of getting a max deal. Then there ain't no telling who's coming in next. Will Campbell this year is probably going to get a huge deal in terms of his NFL future. You got guys like Garrett Nussmeier, guys like Harold Perkins. It's deep. It's deep. It's competitive. They balling. Shout out to him. Derek Stingley, though, deserves that max contract. That's the last time I'm going to say that. Let's hop into the women's basketball talk. Shoo, yesterday. That was a rough one. I ain't going to lie. They almost lost it. Almost slipped away. It's been a couple of games of competitiveness, I guess. You're getting the best out of everybody. You're really making everybody excited, so to speak, to play you. Down 12 points at half, though. That's worrisome. I mean, now you're starting to watch things slowly slip away. Now you're starting to really question some things, and I got some question marks here on this paper for you. First things first, let's recap the game real quick. If you ain't watch it, Michaela Williams absolutely took over. 24 points, superstar potential. I think she's next up. This is the future, especially in this Mulkey program. I feel like she's got a huge role, and she's taking it and running with it. Anissa Morrow got her 25th double-double in the season. Flage also had a double-double. Shout out, big foe. 13 points, but 13 boards. I do want to bring up the points aspect, though. Now, obviously, she had, some soreness, and she was potentially questionable against the Texas game. She played through it anyway. Anissa Morrow, same situation. She was out last game, has a sore foot. I looked at their last 5 ranked games. Both of them, Flage and Anissa Morrow, in their last 5 ranked games, only have one game over 20 points. The rest of the games are all under 20. Now, you really have to ask yourself, are they hitting a wall? Are there injuries lingering, like we were talking about with the foot and the questionability with Flage? This is not the point of the season where you hit the wall. This is not the point of the season where it all comes crumbling down and everybody starts, getting that attrition. You got to kind of try to find that second leg, or got to try to turn over that new leaf and push forward, because the SEC tournament is next week or in 2 weeks. March 5th it starts. You got to double bye. I believe they're number 3 in the SEC tournament, only behind 2 teams. The 2 teams that beat you, Texas and South Carolina. And this is an opportunity to not only finally win the SEC tournament, but let's make some noise and right those wrongs. Show everybody that you're a top team, because some people are questioning it. You do have some teams in college basketball that are undeniably dominant. I mean, we could throw UConn in there. We could throw South Carolina in there. I'm throwing USC in there. But I just don't know if LSU's in that category. They are contenders. They're good. They can keep things competitive. But in terms of being a championship favorite, I'm thinking they're losing their mustard a little bit, only because of the scoring. If you can get in a situation where you have that scoring consistency, I mean, if Michaela Williams is dropping 20 plus and then Anissa and Flage can squeeze out another 20 each, you're in a damn good spot. You're in a spot where, you could potentially be controlling the entirety of the game. Now, obviously, some other things are going to have to play in check to that. The health, the efficiency of the basketball, turnovers, rebounds, going to have to win those battles as well, as they have been recently. But it's just going to have to be right place, right time with things like this. The runs have to happen at the right moment. Yeah, everybody's got to come together at the right moment. And I just think, the March Madness run here, it could potentially slow down, but it also in turn could pick up. SEC tournament, I think, is going to be your pivotal point. You're really going to get to see what they're made out of here. Also on Thursday, they're playing another ranked team. They're going on the road, playing Alabama, who's number 18. They're going to be ready. You're going to get their best shot. If LSU gets into another close game here, I think you got problems. If LSU can answer back, ball out, 10 ball them, 15 ball them, I think they're going to make a nice deep run. I mean, it's not really the end all be all. I'm expecting them to host their 4th straight tournament. I'm expecting them to get at least a couple of wins. But let's hope that you can start seeing some more explosivity, that you can start seeing them grow into that role that champions are going to have to grow into, and that's being dominant. Baseball. What's on deck for LSU baseball? Tonight, Nichols comes into town. They're going to complete that rescheduled game from the other day. It's going to be at 6 p.m. today. Nichols on the year, batting .248. Their ERA is a 4.5. Their head coach, Britt Herring, former LSU director of operations. Interesting storyline, the return. Jay Johnson spoke a little bit with the media, just talked about how he's happy that LSU responded well in game 3 after losing game 2. Just talked about the need to improve offensively. And let's break down game 2 a little bit. It was a decent weekend. 2-1 on the series. You had that rough spot on Saturday. They did have a little run in the 9th inning, trying to, all a little too late, bring it back together. 4-run spurt. Lost 5-4, not enough in the end. They're going to get tested soon. I mean, we heard Jay Johnson say this weekend it gets a little harder, and he was right. It wasn't a spot where LSU was struggling and looking horrible, but they didn't look insane. They didn't look great. They didn't look, perfect. They obviously got some things that they're going to have to grow on, and they're going to have a lot of opportunities to grow through the next 7 days. 5 games. They got the Dallas Baptist, Frisco College Baseball Classic. Got a lot of things to look forward to here for LSU baseball. Let me give you real quick an update on your key players. I give you 3 pitchers, 3 batters. My top 2, though, if I had to give an MVP award to both of them, your pitcher, Chase Shore, shout out to him. ERA 0.9, 2-0 in the year, 10 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts. Shout out. And then Derek Curl, left field, freshman, 500 last week on the batting average. This season, he's batting 440. Absolutely insane. Of course, Jared Jones, Stephen Milam, tearing it up, both batting over 370. Jared Jones had 6 ribbies in last game, 3 for 5. Shout out to him. And then Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, 2 other solid pitchers for LSU. Getting in a good spot. Excuse me. This spring, you got potential. You're not just watching teams throwing baseballs, shooting basketballs, and just getting entertained. You got some teams that could potentially make some noise and some juice, but like I said, it's just going to come down to how they can put this together when it matters most. And LSU women's basketball spot, it's about to start mattering real soon when that calendar turns March. For LSU baseball, they got a couple of months to go through the motions and kind of see, what has to be changed, what has to be updated. I got some faith in them. LSU baseball tonight, 6 p.m. Tune in. The Box. Got another storyline we got to talk about real quick before we hop out of here. Not throwing at the NFL Combine. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? And why should Shedeur Sanders throw or not throw? I'm going to start it off just by saying I don't think it matters. I think several quarterbacks have done it recently, from Jaden Daniels to Caleb Williams to Drake May, where it's not really surprising. And I'm going to go as far as to say Shedeur Sanders won't even be the only one. Now, there's benefits, there's drawbacks, there's a lot of things that you can mention with this. The benefits, I think, outweigh the drawbacks tenfold, especially if you're someone like Shedeur Sanders, where your stock is already as high can be. If you're a top pick and your stock don't really need to improve, you don't need as many opportunities. And it sounds crazy, but I'm just saying you don't need that many chances to show you're the top quarterback when people are already talking about you being the top quarterback. It's just kind of a redundancy. The benefits, though, you have a controlled environment, controlled drills. You can kind of rehearse them a little bit. Now, I mean, people probably hate to hear it. It is what it is. The chemistry with the wide receivers at the pro day, completely different. That's your guys. I mean, you know them like the back of your hand. You're going to be able to go in there and more than likely be a lot more comfortable than you would be in the combine. And then lastly, the more obvious one, no comparison. There's no competitive prospects. Nobody's going right after you. There's not 100%, a reflection of you versus somebody else based on your 2 performances. It's just you at your pro day. It's just you, your show. You get to relax. You get to ball out. Then lastly, the combine, you can focus on your interviews, do what you got to do. I support it. I mean, this is the age of football that you're in right now. You can even take the Jaden Daniels approach and say that me having my pro day at my university brings in more attention and brings in more eyes to my teammates. There's a lot of things that you could say. Obviously, more suspense. You got to wait. Can't see him at the combine. It's only a one-time thing. It's a nice little solo focus. I think Cam Ward, though, he's expected to opt out. Not official yet. I think he ain't doing it either. He don't need to do it. Why? If you had to say who are the top 2 quarterbacks in this class, everybody going to say it at the same time. Say it with me. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders. No need to further examine it. No need to further risk it. Throw it your pro day, call it a day, get drafted in the top 2 picks, and enjoy your career in the NFL. I think that's how this one's going to go. I don't think it's ridiculous that they're not throwing. I don't think you're missing out on anything. I think it makes a lot of sense. If you were a quarterback like a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milroe, throw. By all means, go to Indianapolis, go to Lucas Oil, grab your jersey, grab your compression shirt, throw out as many balls as you want because your stock depends on it. You need those chances. Your game film wasn't as good. The hype isn't as good. But if you're at the top of the hype and at the top of the draft boards, I don't see the point. Neither did Jaden Daniels. Neither did Caleb Williams. And those two quarterbacks did just fine because of it. So Shadur Sanders, do what you got to do. Bust down my EP. Perfect timing. Appreciate everybody for joining. We'll be live Wednesday at 9 a.m. Spring football rapidly approach. I'm trying to tell y'all, lock in. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be covering it like we did last year and the year before that. Got the highlights, got the live stream updates right after practice. We're going to do some social clips as well on our socials at Verdin Verdict. Link in the descriptions. Give us a follow. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. This has been the Verdin Verdict. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin.